Hi everyone, this is Todd with the Prepper website. Welcome to another edition of Commentary and Stuff, raw, unedited, and with a lot of ums. Alright, to get started, I'd like to highlight one of the sponsors, and Jeff, the Berkey guy over at Directive 21. He's a great friend of the website, and in a minute I'll tell you why. But he sells the Berkeys, he's got great customer service. They've just recently updated the website. You know, they got the secure shopping, free shipping in the United States. And then they've got all this other stuff. So it's not just Berkeys that he sells, but he is known as the Berkey guy. And the new website connects to their blog, and so you can come over here to the blog and get all kinds of great articles and things that'll be very interesting. So go ahead and just like all the other articles and things I'm going to be talking about, you can find them in the notes section down below of the video. All right, so moving right along, I'm glad to announce that my free ebook launched this weekend. And so if you haven't gone to the website yet, if you'll click on that headline, and I'm always going to promote it on the website. I might not. It's not always going to be headlines, but anyway. So it's a free ebook, Education After the Collapse. I'm kind of excited. Hasn't even been 24 hours, and I'm right underneath 100 downloads. But I think, and one of the reasons that, well, basically, hold on a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you'll go to the website, to the Prepper website, it'll link to my education site, and it's Ed That Matters, and that's where I'm kind of hosting it from, or at least I'm kind of, you're gonna link to it from there. So you just come over here and click on the book cover, and it'll take you to where you need to go. But anyway, one of the reasons I said Jeff and then some of the other sponsors that I've highlighted the last couple of weeks is that Jeff over Jeff the Berkey guy and some of the other advertisers have sponsored that ebook. And so you can go onto the website, or you can go into the ebook and you can click onto their advertisements in there. But they just, I just really appreciate them. So I want to another shout out to those that have advertised in there. So go ahead and take a look at that ebook, Education After the Collapse. I'll probably be talking a little bit more about it a little bit later on down the road. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of these articles that I'd like to highlight. Over at Survival Tech, flash cooking. And so I've never heard of this one before, but basically you put a steak into the ground, and then he used chicken here, but if you're out there and you're hunting and you have wild game, you can go ahead and put it, keep it on the steak, and you cover it with a can, and then you have all these pine needles and everything. You stack up against them, and you get it as high as possible, and you light it, and it creates this flash fire that goes up pretty quickly, but the heat inside of that can flash cooks whatever meat is in there. So I've never seen that before. I thought that was kind of interesting. You might want to go check out that this article over at Survival Tech. All right, the wannabe homesteader. Hey, I feel your pain. 30 harsh realities of getting out of debt. And I just want to highlight that it is it's hard to get out of debt, but it is a goal that every one of us should have. You don't want to be tied down trying to pay off a lot of things, when the economy gets bad. So she talks a little bit about 30 things that they had to go through. This is their living room, and she talks about how they didn't have carpet for the longest time. And so I think she's doing the Dave Ramsey plan, and so I like Dave. I've taught his course before at my church. I don't believe, everything that Dave says. I think he's not looking at the economy the way I guess some of the people in preparedness are. But I definitely, to get out of debt, he's got a great plan. So anyway, go check that out. And over here, okay, so I post a lot of James Yeager over at Tactical Response, and this one he did gunfight rules, and I think it was just some basic stuff, some common sense. Maybe you'll hear some things that you haven't heard before. But James is always interesting and kind of great to just he puts it all in perspective. And so if you get a chance, go check out his YouTube channel and this video. And then you can come down here and going to getoffthex.com is a pretty cool forum. I don't get to post a lot on forums because I'm just so busy with the website, but I did register and they have information on gosh, almost anything you can think of. So that's why I was kind of looking up a certain pistol, and just in registering, I had a couple of emails from people, and they were just really cool, really nice, and so really hospitable. So if you have any of those kind of questions, you should head on over there to check out James or getoffthex.com. All right, survival blog. There was a post about how to find a post the end of the world as you know it job, or end of the world as we know it job. And so he talks about this is a long introduction, but anyway, basically he gets to one of the jobs that a lot of people are going to need is just being able to cut wood. And you don't put a lot of thought into that, but he does talk a little bit about axes and hatchets and saws, and I think it's just a good read. I mean, definitely something that we should really stock up on. And so, and then he talks about just having the manners and talking to people when you're trying to, when you're hard up for a job, and maybe if there ever comes this time right here, the end of the world as we know it, you're not necessarily looking for payment. You're probably looking for room and board. All right. Okay, over at Wolf Dancers 2 Cents, um, there was this great post, and this is actually posted today. Food is medicine, funeral potatoes, and 50 omelet filling ideas. Okay, the omelet ideas are first, and I'm not really interested in that. Although that's always kind of cool. What I liked was this food is medicine, and so it gives you some basics, the basic fruits and vegetables, and then the things that they do. So like apples, protects your heart, prevents constipation, blocks diarrhea, improves lung capacity, cushions joints, and so you go down the list here, and they've got all kinds of different things, and it just maybe a good reference. And I don't know where the source information is from, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and it might be something worthwhile to look at. When you get to the bottom, he has a there, yeah, recipe for funeral potatoes in a Dutch oven. So that might be it looked like it was pretty interesting in there. But anyway, that's something you might want to check out. All right, Creek over at Willow Haven. Um, I love he did a article on wild grape jelly, and so I mean I think it's so cool to be able to have these wild grapes just growing around there. I've never seen anything like that. Definitely don't have anything like that in Texas, at least where I've been. But anyway, so you have some great pictures there. But then he gets into it, and it's funny. He goes now for the wild grape jelly thing, and so he talks a little bit about what he did, the recipe here, and I mean I'm a jelly noob, I'm a canning noob, so I didn't realize how easy this stuff was. So he throws it in there with he doesn't even take them off the vine, right? And he talks a little bit about what he's doing and the process of how he gets to where he's going, and man, it was pretty simple, and so I'd like to try that wild grape jelly there. So maybe one day I'll get up there to his survival vacations and get to check that out. But anyway, that if you've never tried jelly, I mean, just that recipe was so simple. All right, over at Woods Runner Diary, he posted this great video on Black Watch Tomahawk Fighting, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, I had uh, flashbacks of Mel Gibson and The Patriot, right? But anyway, when you watch it, they just go through certain routines. Basically, like if you were sword fighting and you were going through the different steps, they do this with a tomahawk, and so I thought it was pretty interesting. maybe something that you would do with a friend and just, just messing around. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. He posted something a little bit later after this about the size and the weight of tomahawks, and so that's an interesting read. All right, over at Moderno, they have an article called "Buy a High Point," and so he talks a little bit about points and how he doesn't really recommend them, and if you've got to buy, you don't have a lot of money, just save up your money and buy a good one. But really, the reason why you would want to buy a high point is because of this right here, gun confiscation. And so, some people, yeah, tinfoil hat, maybe, maybe not. This video about Katrina has been around for a while. If you haven't seen that, you definitely need to go check that out. But basically, and I've heard this from other people before, if they came knocking on your door for your weapons, what would you do? What are you going to wind up doing? And so one of the suggestions might be to hand over the high point. Say, okay, here you go. Here's my high point, and here's my weapon, or my weapon can be found here. And so you're giving up something. So anyway, so that might be something to consider and something to think about. I know that there's a lot of people out there that really believe that this is very possible out there. All right. Lastly, over at Rethink Survival, if at all, if the poop hits the fan, and we, for whatever reason, don't have our utilities, I've kind of often thought about this. And this guy, over at Rethink Survival, they posted a video about canning using a rocket stove. And rocket stoves are produce a lot of heat, and with a little bit of wood and putting a pressure canner on top of that. And so this guy actually pulls it off, and he shows you how to do it. And so I think half of the video talks about the rocket stove, and the other half talks about actually pressure canning. And so he's able to do it. So I think that's worth a watch there. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. And again, head on over to the website if you haven't. Go check out the free ebook, Education After the Collapse. And download it, share it with friends. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to the website and supporting the Prepper website.